Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's 7:18. We are starting our budget meeting. We had an executive session to discuss personnel matters as they pertain to the budget for the 2021 season. So I'm going to turn over the meeting to the manager and the assistant manager to lead the discussion. Thank you very much.
I believe a proposed budget revised has been sent to everyone, including with the additions that were passed on last Monday of the debt service, etc. If there's any specific questions, we'll be happy to entertain them. Not going through line by line item at this point, but just to have any questions from council or anybody else as pertaining to the information that was passed forward.
Yes, Ms. Perry.
Okay. I was looking at the real estate transfer tax, and this is a minor one. I am wondering whether that proposed budget is a little bit low when I look at over 78,000 8 months in, and I know that we've had brisk sales, and at the rate, even if that hasn't increased, that should put us in this year at about 115, 117,000, and we're looking at a proposed 2021 of 90,000. I would think that we should at least get that up to 100.
I can make that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can make that adjustment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be more than that, but I think it's, you know, I know we're always hesitant.
I think 100,000.
Yeah, I think I can speak for Doug, and we were hesitant of increasing anything in the 2021 revenue item. I mean, EIT is probably going to come in around 10% less. I'm sorry. Okay.
Thanks.
And a few other things, but it's and speaking with many other managers from other municipalities, this is a unique year to judge revenues based on what we've experienced in 2020 and what we may experience in 2021. So
absolutely, but one thing we do know is that real estate is moving.
It is. I agree. So, okay.
All right, thanks.
Sure.
Okay, Phil, who's up next?
Doug?
I was just going to say we've got a general, a sewer, and a road fund that all balance. They do have the $9 million bond issue and on the capital piece, but everything balances, and it's a sustainable budget for 2021. And I'll make the adjustments that Ms. Perry had mentioned.
Okay, and I know you and Coletta were going back and forth, and I don't know if in this.
No, I don't think we're ready yet there. We want to hone that analysis a little bit more. We want to bring in, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but yes, Ms. Perry and I spoke, and that real estate transfer and the real estate adjustments are something we really want to get honed down, and so we're going to be working with Jordan to get some numbers so we can accurately forecast those revenues.
Okay, so is there anything that council needs to look at more closely than we already have this evening?
I don't have anything.
Other
than and I see Fred raising his hand, the revised or the proposed fee schedule was sent out. It's redlined so you can see any of the changes.
Do you want me to bring?
I didn't see the redlined one. I guess
Here, I'm gonna share that screen with everybody.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
No
Fred?
real, why Phil brings that up, no real changes, other than we increased some of the building inspection fees, and then we instituted the fire inspection fees that will be going into effect as well. We did increase some rentals, and then we included a non-resident rental fee for the pool and shelters at the park. And those are noted in the red line version.
Okay.
Do you have the red line version that you can show somebody?
Yeah, I'm bringing it
I
up.
guess, because I thought the one that I read didn't look like it had red lines in it. But maybe I didn't look at it closely enough.
All right. Yeah,
apologize.
I had the same problem, Clutta. In the Word doc, you had like on the side, you had to click on it.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't look at it in the right view. It came up in
Right.
a regular view. All right, I'm good.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I called up Doug and did the same thing, and then he.
Okay,
But there are the
So-
fire inspections. That's the
right.
big
Okay.
thing.
That was
All
brought
right.
to our attention earlier in the year. Right.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And we're still working with Steve, trying to find, we don't have it in there, for the 5G network build out, which Verizon put me on notice last Friday, that they had stopped everything in 2020, but are going to reconvene that project in 2021. We have it in the ordinance that we passed, but I'm looking for an appropriate fee schedule for them to be able to do that. Regrettably, there's very few municipalities that have addressed this issue and are just allowing them to do whatever they want to do. We'll have a fee per utility pole or wherever they place them in place. I just don't have enough information to give you an amount at this point. It should be right around $500 per installation. That's kind of the benchmark. But until I get that really honed down, I don't want to put that into a fee. We can always adopt that maybe in January.
Okay. So we have the flexibility to adopt it later.
You can always adjust the fee schedule. Yes.
Okay, that's right. Okay.
So other than that, I don't have anything else to report on the 2021 proposed budget.
So,
Okay. Well, hold
With
on.
re-
Fred had his hand raised earlier.
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I just had a couple of questions on the budget. I have some concerns. At 405-33, transportation reimbursement. Could you talk a little bit about that? It looks like that last year it was, the budget was $250 and you're proposing $4,000
Yeah. Hold on.
for
Let me just-
wait a
2021.
minute, what's the number? I'm sorry,
Yeah,
what
hold
number?
on, Fred, let me just bring it back up.
405.33.
Got it.
405.
405.33.
It's at probably 173, line 173. You'll see it, I think.
Transportation. Okay.
Yep,
Okay, go ahead.
that's a good catch.
Yeah,
So,
I think we
Well,
can,
last year,
Yeah. No. Yeah.
we'll ratchet that down. Yes. We'll
Yeah.
reduce
That's not a
that.
good number. Yeah.
last
Something
year
got
was
trans-
200. Last year there was $250 in the budget. So it's just a typo.
I think I put 400 and it was the typo and I added the extra zero.
I think so
yes.
too. Yes.
So good catch. Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Good catch, Fred.
Another thing I'm concerned about is 405-46. Meetings and trainings, conferences,
Yes.
75% increase from last year.
I actually, I'll address that one. Fred, I think it's really important that conferences like PELRAS and other municipal trainings for whether it's code enforcement, whether it's just learning for management and interacting with management and interacting and going to these conferences is very important. Regrettably, they are expensive. I'm not going to lie to you there. Most of the conferences, in fact, all the conferences were canceled this year. But I would have been way over budget this year if I went to PELRAS, if Doug goes to PELRAS, or any of the other conferences that where we learn how to govern better.
Yeah, I
And,
definitely support that, in that, you know, my company is a fraction of the size of our municipal budget, a reasonable fraction, but a fraction. And our education budget is higher than this.
Yeah, I was gonna say, maybe you had the transportation higher to cover the cost for the part of the meetings, conferences, trainings. Is that where you would, if you went
Oh,
to
he
a
said-
conference?
well,
He said he
you know,
meant
I think we would limit all conferences probably in state. We're not talking about the International City Managers Association, ICMA, which would probably eat up 7,000 for one person, quite frankly.
Yeah, I'm just saying your transportation charges are for your conferences. Are you
Your
going to?
They would need to be a little higher than 400 if we're going to go to
Right.
state college. Most of them are in state college, quite frankly.
And
So,
that's
yeah.
also for the mileage that
Right.
Russ and I, when we use our personal vehicles.
We use our personal vehicles for
That's
borough
right,
business
exactly.
every day.
Yeah. So then maybe that budget number is
That is correct.
okay. I mean,
4,000
the
is correct.
4533. Okay, it is correct. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
40533 is correct at $4,000.
It could be a
Could
little
you
lower.
restate why? Could you
I thought he
restate why,
said that he
please?
made a mistake and it should be $400.
Right, and then he double checked while we were talking, and if we let him, either let Doug or Russ speak to that?
Well,
That's
we
the
could- we-
mileage reimbursement for the use of our personal vehicles for borough business. So
How about, would you be able to take the ordinance vehicle?
well, the ordinance officer has that. I mean,
Yeah.
we can look at,
Borrow it for a day?
Yeah. I think they, like, let's say for instance, this year, Russ used his personal vehicle during the day to go to different, meetings with the county and et cetera.
And to drive the borough.
Right, drive the borough, go to job sites, meet with the engineers, et cetera. And Doug needs to do the same. So we have them expense their mileage at the federal rate, because
Also,
the
also
code
for-
enforcement officer uses the vehicle during the day.
also, if we're looking at, potentially expanding code enforcement, they would
Right.
need a dedicated vehicle. So we would, if that happens, we would need to look at purchasing another vehicle for the borough.
That is correct.
So we would have to
So
maintain
mileage-
2 vehicles.
Yeah, mileage reimbursement is much less expensive. And as you were also mentioning, is several trips to State College for workshops, and that'll come in at a couple $100 a pop as
Right.
well. So
Wait, so what you're all saying now is that the $4,000 is justified and should stay in there?
yes, yes.
Wow.
It's
Okay.
either 4,000 or purchase another vehicle, and another vehicle is pretty expensive compared to 4,000.
Did they answer your questions, Fred, or do you still need some time?
No, I asked the questions. They
No.
were answered. I mean,
Okay.
they're not,
Okay,
Mayor Bloom, your
The
hand's
mayor,
raised.
yeah,
I still have more questions though.
all right.
Hold on, the mayor had his hand up. Mayor Bloom. Let me unmute him. I'm gonna unmute him. Maybe he's.
Did you get that?
No, repeat
no.
that, sir.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I would not use that ordinance officer's vehicle any further than Carnegie. Okay, that's an old used police car that has who knows how many miles on it, and I wouldn't trust it to get on to State College for a conference.
I love it. That's the greatest answer. I'm with the mayor. For real.
All right. Well, now that that's been brought up, the more serious question is, for an auxiliary vehicle, where are we? Is that something that we should have had budgeted in there, and or did we have something in there? I don't think we did.
No,
so
we
on
don't.
this item.
No, we do not. I mean, that would be a lease arrangement that would have MG plates and be used for strictly municipal purposes. You probably then would have to raise transportation. I would guess to around, if we did a lease purchase on a mid-size vehicle, that budget item would probably have to go to about 11,000.
Okay. And Mayor Bloom, when's your next vehicle gonna come out of service? I know we get some residual back when we trade them in. We kept this last one, and we have actually had a hitting cost here last year. I actually think this year we actually had some significant repairs on.
We did.
Code
We
enforcement.
did. We did on the code enforcement vehicle. If I may, as a former police chief, tell you that after 2 or 3 years at 24/7 riding, those police vehicles are beat to death.
Right.
Sorry.
So perhaps, given the fact that we've talked about potentially having, two code enforcement people, possibly servicing one of our neighbors,
Maybe.
and the number of items that we have either increased a little bit in revenue, decreased our expenses. It seems like we could put enough in to do a lease on another vehicle? Or you're shaking your head no?
No, I'm not shaking my head. Right now we're getting reimbursed for mileage using our personal vehicles.
Right, and we understand that.
And I
but mean, if we're going to have another code enforcement.
I assume that was the way that it's always been done. And I'm okay with it per se. Didn't want to add more to the expenses, to be
Right.
perfectly
Well,
honest.
no, but will we find ourselves caught up short if we have a second code enforcement person?
We could have an issue there, yes.
So
Okay.
again, if we can put it in the budget, given what we've lowered and what we've increased, and if we don't need it, we don't need it.
Yes, I can put in a lease purchase on a code vehicle, and we can take that out 3 to 4 years. So it'll be a minimal budget impact that we'll cover with
Okay.
the reduce and then the increase on the real estate transfer. So yeah.
Okay.
Making that note.
Mayor Bloom.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of municipal vehicles on the roadway with, municipal government plates on, and they don't have to be large vehicles. You get a small sedan that the manager could use, for around town stuff, and you get one that is also safe and usable to go to a conference. But using an old police vehicle for out of town work, I wouldn't recommend that at all.
Right. Well, I mean, and as you point out, it can be a small vehicle. It could be a hybrid. That little thing that I've been driving on lease gets about 45 miles to the gallon. And it has all the safety features.
Well,
And
Doug
it's a
mentioned to
3-year
me
lease.
Doug mentioned about a Mini Cooper. So we'll look at that.
I have
think
a,
that'll
I have,
cost more than the Kia that I have.
let's get him a motorcycle instead with the
All
sidecar.
right, let's move on. Let's move
Okay.
on. I got
Can we go back to
grading
Fred's
stuff
line of
in.
questions? Because I know
Yes,
you have more
he
questions.
has more questions.
Yes, we need to hear them. Fred?
This 407.42. Subscription services for software.
Oh,
407
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
dash
That's
42.
for financial software, and then also additional with our TASER. So we can open that up for public works work orders, and then also have more interaction with the residents. So there's a small subscription fee in addition to what we're already paying to TASER, as well as financial software money in there.
Right, and we're already over budget. We're already over budget from the 2020 number. So basically what's happening here, Fred, is most software where years ago you used to purchase it and then it would be good for 5 or 10 years. Almost all current software is done on a subscription basis, and it is costing more. But the other thing is that you're not responsible for hosting it. You're not responsible for keeping it running, and you always have access to the most current version of the software. So this is just the way the whole world is going. And again, I reference my own business because we're a tech business. We probably have close to that much just for our business in these kinds of annual software things for our Adobe and for our Microsoft and, for our payroll and that sort of thing, and our meeting software. So it is a really reasonable number. And we have been talking about needing to upgrade the municipal finance package.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else, Fred?
No, that's all I have.
Excellent. Thank you. Good
Thanks.
stuff. Yeah, Glenn is right, by the way. I can attest.
Okay. Anybody else have any line item questions?
So I do have one more note because I highlighted some stuff I thought we were through. 411.90, and we have talked about this, but I just want to get clarification. The note is that it's the remaining 2 fire truck payments where we're transferring $100,000. And is that done this year, or do we have that, or that's done in 2021? Is that correct?
The 2 payments are not done until 2023. And then we'll have one for the remainder.
Okay, so is this this is for the one remaining plus our new rescue unit?
That is correct.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, so in 2023, that will drop down, or
To
2024.
what we agreed to buy this year. That is correct.
Okay, so we have 2021, 2022. So is that we have 2 more budget years or 3 more budget years?
3.
3.
3.
Okay, and how much is that one that's going to drop off then at the end of 3 years? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. It's on
No,
my desk.
I don't need an answer. That's all right.
I want to say it's 34,000
That
just-
sounds about right. Okay,
off the top of my head.
all right. Yeah, we can. We can double check that later.
I think that's close. I
Right.
think it's real close.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you look here, 37.
Oh yeah, you're right. I should have.
Yeah, go back
We even
to,
had to
it's
ask.
37.
19.
37.4. 37.4.
There you go. Sorry.
Sorry. Well, I'm sorry I asked.
That's right.
It's okay.
All right. And then demolition blight, there's a note that we moved that to the capital fund. Could you just speak to that for a quick minute, Doug?
Yeah, so we took that out of the general to run because that's more of a capital expense for us because we're
Okay.
improving our infrastructure. So
Okay,
yeah, that was
All right.
the thinking.
super.
Is that titled blight remediation? Okay. yeah,
Correct.
okay.
Yeah. Let's see, filters and pumps, that's understandable. I do have one more on recreation. I look on recreation activities and expenses, and we have that budgeted $1,000, and I know that the Parks and Recreation Board is really ramping up what they're doing. And has there been any conversation about whether that, and Anthony might be able to speak to this, whether that line item should be increased?
I would defer to Anthony.
I do know that we did have a conversation behind this. So basically what we did, and I know there was even a question about Crafton Celebrates as well. So and I know there was a lot of reorganization to put everything under the recreation. So there was ample put in. But this, let me double check real quick, sorry.
So where are we seeing whether it, celebrates in whatever form it's going to find itself? Where are we? I know that we took it out of that separate account, and I thought we were folding it into the general fund.
The only Celebrates expense we have is for fireworks. I think it's 7,500.
Yeah, well, we're covering the cost of the fireworks, but then there's so how are we what is the plan for accounting for costs related to whatever Celebrates it is or becomes? So there's expenses up front and there's revenue. And I know that we had it in a separate account, in a separate fund. And I thought that our conversation was that you were wanting to pull it into the general fund.
That was our first
correct.
budget meeting. We kind of didn't address it. So yeah, that, however council wants to handle that. I mean, I can put anything in that we want, but yeah, that's
Okay, could we maybe take this offline with Anthony and you and I, so that we don't stay here all night?
Yeah, we were looking,
Yes.
Look at,
originally Doug and I were looking at a number of about $5,000 for recreation expenses, not knowing,
not
what is-
counting Celebrates.
not knowing how anything is going to be handled. That is correct.
Right, okay, so, yeah, because I think this activity expense, that number needs to be higher, and then we have to figure out where we're accounting for Celebrate. So I think if we look at Celebrates and get some guidance from where the rec board is thinking about going, because one of the problems that Celebrates has always had is the way that they've run kind of separately. We have individuals who are they're either doing fundraising and or purchasing out of pocket and covering expenses before Celebrates happens and then getting reimbursed afterwards. And it's long been my attitude that shouldn't be going on, that this is a borough, if it's whatever Celebrates is in the future, that it's a borough activity. The expenses need to be borne by the borough and the revenue collected by the borough.
I agree
And
100%.
Yeah,
I will say,
Anthony?
pardon, I will say in regards to Crafton Celebrates as to where it stands right now, I did speak with the former chair, Angela Palchowski. She had told me she was going to be resigning. We have not received a formal resignation letter yet from either Crafton Celebrates or the rec board. But as of right now, where Crafton Celebrate stands is to be determined, because the rec board never really necessarily ran Crafton Celebrates, and we've been running other events. So it's
Right.
something that we're kind of, we're not sure where things stand as it is right now.
Right,
So
but
we're
I think
hoping to
again,
receive
this
more
is
information.
right. But since we're trying to put a budget together, we don't want to hamstring you and not give you, the
Right.
funds to do
No,
something.
and we don't have a revenue item as well. So that,
Right.
let us,
And ultimately, it usually will even itself out, sometimes be a little more positive. So I
It-
think that if we,
yeah, I think it's going to, and normally it's going to be a little bit negative, but
right,
But yes, I agree wholeheartedly that expenses should be run through the borough and revenues the same way.
And through the general fund. So let's
that is-
just look
that's
at, let's just look at coming up with a with a number by looking at Celebrates, talking with Anthony and a little
Right.
bit more.
And
We
I would say
will.
also with Jackie as well,
Right.
as the rec board chair. I mean, I have a general idea, but we are,
Well, what's the
it-
general
it- it-
number, please?
Pardon?
What's the general number?
I don't think
I
any
would-
of us are prepared for that. I mean, because
it's
we
hard
haven't
to
been looking.
determine. So
Right, I
Hikla,
mean, it's-
I'm gonna jump in
Go
real
ahead.
quick. So it's hard to determine because I'll give you an example with the event that's coming up this month for the celebration of lights. Some of the items actually fall into two different areas of the budget because not only is the rec board having an event, but the rec board is decorating the borough. There's going to be a banner for the borough as well. So it kind of falls in multiple areas. So I think a little bit more of a conversation needs to be had because we are a small municipality. So a lot of times where other municipalities have different areas to handle one thing and somebody else handles another, where we kind of handle multiple under one.
Right.
So,
So basically we've got, activities, expenses, general at this point, talking about, it seems to me if I were going to pull a number out of my hat, not including a Celebrates type of event, you're going to put that at about 5,000.
That is
Now,
correct.
and from my past experience and looking at the books and what I recall, Celebrates itself is $50,000 more. It's so basically it's like Russ says, it's maybe going to be a little bit negative, but I've seen and I've signed signed checks
So
for
50K is the number. We could put it in there and then move it around if we get better data, but that's at least a placeholder.
right. I
Okay,
mean,
yeah.
but no,
Well,
but I
but you
I
gotta
don't
be
think we want to
careful,
do that.
right? You gotta be careful on the revenue side.
Right.
We're gonna have a terrific light celebration in a couple weeks.
Right.
But the revenue end of that is being donated to the Crafton Ingram Food Bank.
Right.
So we have no revenue.
Exactly.
right.
So, I
And
mean,
that's a different type of thing than
Correct.
Celebrates.
it
so-
is,
And I,
but there are expenses with no revenue. So
right.
we have to budget accordingly. And, none of these things they're not gonna be revenue neutral. Or
Right.
No.
they're not. We're gonna have expenditures if we want to have these types of events. And if
Absolutely.
We're
Absolutely.
comfortable with that number. I believe I am as well.
Right.
If
And then
real quick,
Go ahead.
real quick.
Go
So,
ahead. I'm
so
sorry.
Claudia, the 5,000 number is exactly a ballpark number what I came up in my mind.
Okay.
But also in regards to Celebrate, so the mindset that the rec board is taking right now, because we do not know what's going to happen in June of 2021, whether or not events are going to be allowed to happen. But the idea that, we're going by the mantra of let's plan as if we're going to go back to normal. It's better to have something planned out versus not having something planned out, but then able to have an event.
Right. And I think the other thing too, is as you have mentioned, and I think that there's been a press for some time, is to reduce the duration of whatever that celebration is going to be. And so, if it's going to be a shorter duration, there's going to be less expenses and likely less revenue. So I think that we can, my thinking is whatever number we come up with, as you point out, Ross, we should project expenses being somewhat higher than revenue,
Yes.
but that event will have revenue on it.
Yes, agreed, 100%.
And so, maybe the thing that we can say is that we're going to craft a budget that isn't going, that maybe, if we're talking about like a couple days, we could craft an event that could be $5,000 to $7,000 negative. So whatever number we come up with, the expense when we subtract it out, might, we might limit it to $5,000 to $7,000. Because that will fit into everything that we've been talking about, given what we've increased and what we've decreased.
Yes,
I mean, what do you think?
I agree.
Okay. All right.
All right,
So-
so
We could put a line item, or we can just do activities. We said 5. Let's say we're going to allow a $7,000 deficit on whatever event we're going to do. We put another 7,000, and then we don't have to worry at this moment in time about revenue versus expense.
Well, we can put a revenue item in that is that amount of money below the expenditure money on the,
Right.
on the back end. Yes.
Right.
We could easily do that.
Okay.
I'm gonna
And
put a
so,
revenue in of 25 and an expense of 32.
love it. Those were my exact numbers. Anthony, how do you feel about that?
Agreed, because if we
Okay.
have that in there, it also will give some more flexibility to the rec board, because as you stated, it's a very active rec board, and
I
know,
think. the
many events
expense-
coming up.
I'm sorry, Anthony, I apologize. I didn't mean to step on you. I do.
Good.
I really do think the expense needs to be closer to 5,000. I do.
Agreed.
all right, question for you
When you're
guys.
saying, the expense, so that you would go 25 revenue.
On the
to 30
original
expense?
question, instead of 1,000, we'll make that 5, and then we'll put the celebrates in on the difference of 7.
Okay,
Okay. Because I do believe that 5,000 dedicated to just the rec board activities is important to have.
I agree.
I
Because
agree.
but
agree.
I will say that the rec board has been very wise this year in utilizing extra funds from not having celebrates and from not having the pool open, and purchasing equipment that we can utilize year over year.
Year after year. That's,
Yeah.
there are some one-time expenses that, yes, I agree. I
All
agree.
right, I'd like to interject here. Fireworks, where is that accounted for? Okay, celebrates fireworks.
It's in, where is it? Is it in
This is
Parks?
45731, Excel line 381.
Celebrates
57?
fireworks.
What did our fireworks cost this year?
We've got,
we-
we've got 0 in here, but we paid for it, didn't we, this year?
Well,
Or did
Yeah,
we paid for it
no,
last year?
it was actually paid for in 2019.
Okay, but that's showing up as 0 in our. budget.
Well, it's
Was it,
showing up, as-
that's right, because it was in a separate fund.
that's correct.
Okay,
We actually paid, all said and done, $8,000.
okay, so I'm just saying, my comment was we need to just make sure that we can cover the cost of the fireworks.
Understood.
right. Yeah, and
I've
that's
actually
what's in
spoke,
here.
I've actually spoke with him after he did the event for us, and he was appreciative that we had an event and had fireworks, so
Yeah, he
I
doesn't have
think
to,
I
he
think
can
we're
count
okay.
on making new revenue in the next year.
That is, well, he's in the same position as everybody else. Are we gonna even have fireworks next year?
Right.
Right.
All right, well, I just want to make sure that
No,
everybody.
that's fair. That's fair. Fair question.
Yeah, just that way, Crafton, we're having fireworks. It's in the budget.
Yeah, because
Okay.
as we saw this year, we ended up paying the entire amount versus the celebrates committee paying half.
That is correct.
Right.
Right, and
So,
since
so
it's
the-
all coming in the general fund, that's the way it is.
right,
Expense.
which is fine. So whether or not they have a 1-day event or a 3-day event, everybody still gets to have fireworks. There's none of this, oh my God, I have to have a 3-day event to make up the difference for the fireworks.
Exactly.
So
Right.
Good old
Exactly.
Labor Day fireworks. Never,
Right.
I'll never forget them.
Well, we can have 4th of July fireworks.
Yeah, right,
and-
Russ.
And our celebrates doesn't even have to be on that weekend, because that's been one of the biggest problems.
All I
Is it
know is
the
I was
people-
sitting on my porch on Labor Day, drinking some adult beverages. The fireworks went off. I literally thought a transformer blew up. I ran down the street looking at St. Philip's like it was on fire. And I look around, my neighbors are running out of their doors. They're like, what the hell? And then I go, oh my God, it's the fireworks. I couldn't believe it. I was like, I was going to call Russ at 10 o'clock at night. What's
They
going
were
on?
fantastic. They were
They
some
were.
very,
They
let's,
were.
yeah. And
So-
yeah,
One more item for council and management here with regards to pool fees. Did we have the increase in the non-resident passes or the rates there to, and then we needed to talk about whether or not, like right now, I think Carnegie residents get charged something different than Ingram, but we're in the same school district as Carnegie, and it should be, we should be at parity, like
I,
our kids go to school with their kids.
right.
Yeah.
We give discounts to Roslyn Farms, Thornburg, and Ingram. And we do not do the same for Carnegie. That is correct.
Right, so
So why do we
my
give discounts to
proposal
these
to
others?
council would be to make sure that Carnegie gets charged the same as Ingram, but for the communities outside of our district and our immediate neighbors here, people that we're policing, that, we have a rate that's fair to us, the taxpayers.
Right.
I agree.
Say it with me again, though, Phil. Carnegie. Carnegie.
No, Carnegie Hall.
Oh, Russ.
Carnegie.
No.
I
Well,
agree.
okay.
Or you're,
I'm from
or you're,
across the
or you're,
mountain range.
or Brad, you're from the south side or the south side. You know what I mean? I don't know what to tell you.
We got to get you up to Yinzer speed, Phil. It'll come one of these days, I promise. But to his point, I think he makes a good point, and we should definitely.
I would heartily agree.
So we want to add Carnegie as a resident pass. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and somebody ought to reach out to Carnegie. or
We will do that.
Carnegie
We'll
right.
do that.
and say, we
We'll-
just did that.
we-
They've been asking
will-
for that for a long time.
we will call Carnegie Hall tomorrow.
Yeah,
All
you can
right,
say we
you
got
do
your
that.
name right. on a
And-
recorded meeting.
And Fred, are you still with us?
Yes.
Tell Nina that we just did that, because that's something Nina wanted to do. Okay?
Yeah, well, I'll tell her. Okay.
All right,
Excellent.
good stuff. I think we got accomplished a lot tonight. Anything else?
All right.
I think that's it. I think everybody can go get ready for Thanksgiving and start making the stuffing.
Bingo.
Thank you.
I'm
Happy
gonna be
Thanksgiving,
making
everyone.
my
Thanks.
fast.
Yeah.
Tomorrow I can eat an extra amount of food.
There you go. Well, because you don't have so many people coming to eat it.
No, this is going to be the first Thanksgiving where we don't have anybody
Yeah.
going